Hey guys, it's time for part 4 of Luo's personal development story. This one is about how I got acquainted with a source that proved itself to be very specific and provides very good bits and pieces of information that can change your perspective on life. It's called, the source is called Bashar. Bashar specifically is, and bear with me until the end, an extraterrestrial being that's using a past life that it has here to connect with us. So there's a person that enters a meditative state called channeling state, where they both align their thoughts or the frequencies that they think, and then the person that connects with Bashar starts channeling his thoughts, and every thought that Bashar sends translated into English, because the sessions are in English, and that's it. There are sessions almost every month now. Since the coronavirus, there have been a lot of online events, and they have also proved to be interesting, considering that Bashar is currently talking about how we should and can handle the changes that are happening on the planet. But since it's personal development story, I have to go back and tell you how I started. In the beginning, I actually didn't know who was Bashar. I only heard it by name, and I wasn't sure what it was exactly. I actually entered a friend's chat about esoteric and metaphysical, with an esoteric and metaphysical theme, and we talked about themes like this, and Bashar was a lot of times the center of conversation. We explained things through the way that he did. We conversed on what he meant, as well as shared knowledge about it. It was pretty interesting, and my first impressions of Bashar were very intriguing. I was very intrigued. Why? Because every bit of information was expressed so clearly, and when you have so clearly, I mean that when you have an idea and you listen to Bashar's explanation, you actually receive a very expansive understanding of what that concept is, and what it can be, and what our possibilities are. And that really got under my skin, because I didn't think that there can be anything so clear and specific and so well explained. And it wasn't really anything scientific, or there are scientific stuff. There is scientific stuff, but mostly it was just explained easily, I don't know how to put it, very easy, very plain, and very easy to understand. This is what caught my eye, and I continued using the materials that were available. There are a couple of groups in Bulgarian for Bulgaria, I guess, that share information, from which got me excited. I started reading them. Some articles were very long, some weren't, and that's it. That's the general story. From later on, I managed to find some pirated sessions, and I watched some of them, and it was amazing. The experience of watching Bashar and his humor and the way he interacts with people is very, very fun, and it creates a lot of joy. Now, one of the most important things that I experienced after I got acquainted with Bashar's perspective and sessions was my point of view. I actually remember that we can connect with extraterrestrial life. And considering what I was doing, the things that I mentioned in the part 3 of the personal development story, I was wondering and curious to see if I could establish a connection to aliens that are helping our planet in its development. So I started asking questions and looking for answers that they could provide. Now, generally, I was directed towards Bashar because he was the alien that I was most acquainted with and most familiar with. So that's who I looked for. But now I did receive answers. I can't really confirm that it was from Bashar. He always says that we always connect to his race's collective mind. So that's it, right? It doesn't really matter. The answers were genuine, the information was very good, and the experiences were even better in some cases, because in some other cases advice wasn't so good. When I established connection with the Greys, they have a very dull perspective on life, or they did. So I stopped listening to them specifically. But actually what helped me was that every time I had a problem came the question, why do you look at it that way? And it was always like someone was directing it towards me, and step by step, and it took me a long time to learn this. I actually learned that it's not me, that the problem isn't the problem, it's me that raising and using the given thing, whatever it is, idea, event, experience or interaction, as a problem. The problems that I was using it as a problem and looking at it as a problem. And this was expressed in me when I wanted to provoke change in other people. So another thing that Bashar helps a lot is that he explains that we don't actually change the world around ourselves, we change ourselves and enter a world that is more representative of the change that we have accomplished. But in my case, I was always in the thought process and the mind. I was always of the mind that I had to change the world, or I had to work to change the world. So perspective was on changing the world, and that meant that I had to make some people change. And the easiest way to do that was provocation. But every time I provoked somebody and I didn't see the expected result that I thought was going to be the best, I got angry. Well, I didn't really lash out, but I was irritated from the inside, and in some cases I started explaining that that's the way that a person that I have provoked, like a colleague in the university for example, didn't react how he should. I started pushing more, I was more harsh, and I was actually the only one getting irritated. And that it continued. And the question about why are you looking at it that way, that it's a problem, and why are you looking at it as a problem, that question being repeated over 3 months helped me change my perspective on what change actually is and what could actually happen, right? Because our actions are one thing, and the reaction of the environment is a whole other thing, and it's just representative of what we did. It's nothing more. It doesn't have any built-in meaning. If we just receive, that's my opinion, feedback on how we should and can proceed, because we have some reaction, and depending on what the reaction is, we can see if this is a reality that we prefer. That's it. From there on, we know how we want to change our perspective, our actions, our habits, etc., etc. And this is why it actually helped me accept people's point of view, because I actually realized that they're not getting angry because they have their own point of view, and they're just experiencing it as something normal, something natural. Whereas I was focusing on making everybody emotional. It doesn't really matter in what direction, just so that they can have an expression, a strong emotional expression. But sometimes people had really unexpected by me reactions, which really bugged me because I didn't expect them. So it was coming out of my comfort zone, which is also good. But it was really the question, which I deem to be because of the connection with aliens, that helped me understand what reality really is. And now I know that provocation is something that we is more or less us lashing out, so that we can see a difference when we're bored with the reality that we're currently experiencing, and we're just looking for some change. We're looking for a provocation, something to make ourselves do something outside of what we're accustomed to on an everyday basis. And to be fair, the Bashar is even more deep in that, but I can't really go into all the depths. I would really advise that you look them up yourself. I will put links into the description. There's a audio and video library of a lot of sessions that you can go through, or the most recent ones, or whichever you choose. It's really a different experience. Now, the last Bashar session that I looked was, I couldn't actually keep myself, and I was in the office. I was even in the office. I had some free time, so I managed to watch it while I was in the office, and I was so excited that I couldn't stop jumping, and I actually got up and started jumping because I was so excited to see Bashar's session. And for me, the online experiences at the moment are the only thing that I have available, because I'm not living in the US and I'm living in Bulgaria, so the internet is my connection with that part of Bashar that's channeling and providing sessions. But it's really a different experience. It's a really more positive view, a very precise solution. For me, it gives a lot of solutions to the point, and for me there wasn't really any way to distort the information. It was clear enough, it was simple enough, and it was easy enough. That's all I can say. Really, if I were to summarize what Bashar's sessions were, it's exciting, joyful, precise, to the point, easy to understand, and just great. Let's put it there, because I'm going to start making a very huge list of what they are. Now, just another reminder, look up the links in the description so that you can see what it's all about from their perspective, because mine is just one perspective. There are also groups in Facebook. I will put links into the description for some of them. And that's it. There is going to be another part of the personal development story, so stay tuned. If you like, subscribe to the channel, you can also click on the bell so that you can receive a notification when the next video comes up, and I'll see you next time.